So, gentlemen, look, we haven't given Pulsechain its due yet. There's been a lawsuit overhanging us. Richard Hart's pulled a McAfee for now. Realistically, the clock is just ticking because there's definitely a shakeup in the SEC. There's a lot of positive news coming our way. We can expect January and February some real big bullish news. Now, I don't see anything being front run per se. So, what would you say would be the best alpha you can give that you see on Pulsechain going forward if everything were to go bullish on Pulsechain in January, February? Where should someone position on Pulsechain? What's your insight right now?
I would say position right now in the core four coins, like get a position in that before you start expanding into some of the other alts and the smaller cap stuff. Just so your Pulse, your Pulsex, INC, Hex, and then you can play around in the farms. INC, PLSX paying like 20%, but if you move it to IMPLS, it's like 30%. Then another, I think 9% on top with another token. Earning yield on your assets is always good as long as one doesn't run against each other and have that impairment loss. And
I'm a little bit different to a lot of these guys. I'm kind of more bullish on Hex than I am pretty much all the other RH tokens. I think Hex will be the front runner. I think that liquidity is thin for a reason. I think Hex is going to be the one that really kind of shakes things up and moves first. So I would weight heavily on Hex. I think it's fine to farm, but you don't want to be caught in farms when things go parabolic. So for me, I would kind of slightly lean more towards PHEX. That's my position. And then once PHEX does its run, you take small profits and then you put them into your favorite altcoins on Pulsechain. That's my simple way to do it. And the tokens that you really like that you're holding, like for me, Pulse Bitcoin, for example, I'm just kind of farming them on 2FUCks, and getting some really nice returns. I'm providing liquidity elsewhere using 9inch, getting myself nice 2% rewards. And then if I like a token like Pepe, for example, because it did a 70% move yesterday, made some nice profits there, I thought to myself, well, why not bridge it over, provide liquidity on Pulsechain? So things like that for me, but I'll let everyone else answer their answer to that question.
I mean, for me, I'm probably almost in the camp of Fat Sammy. Maybe not as much lean towards Hex. I do believe Hex could be one of the top dogs because that's Richard Hart's first, and he created Pulsechain for Hex. But I mean, I didn't want to try to have to pick which one's going to outrun the other, so I kept my portfolio for the most part pretty even distributed between the core four. But over the last couple of weeks, Hex now has ran pretty good, and it's now the highest dollar valued coin I have in my entire portfolio, and I'm just going to leave it that way. I'm not going to ratio trade out into one of the cheaper ones just because that one could run for a little while. But I also be Pulsex, man. Pulsex is the sleeper. And I think before, when people are least expecting it, I think Pulsex is going to rip faces off.
Yeah, but I mean, Pulsex, that's when the plebs come, no? You rotate back into that for volume, no?
Absolutely. And by owning Pulsex, man, you getting a little bit of, buy pressure on your coins every day from people swapping. I mean, when you own the Uni token, they didn't have that. You don't get affected directly to your token from the Uniswap protocol. Is just really a duct tape token. With this is not, in my opinion. It's like that supply is getting less every single day. There's buy pressure, and that will really shine when the bull market's here. When the momentum shifts, that's when you're going to see that thing really fly.
A quick question, actually, before we move on. I wanted to mention this before. The other day we were talking about ETH fees. Obviously, just bridging is going to be an issue at one point. So let's say you want to start taking some profits from Pulsechain, which everyone will want to do at some stage, different point. Do you think, obviously we've got the cheap fees over here, but do you think this bridging back to Ethereum is going to put off smaller holders from coming over to Pulsechain?
Bridging back, it's like a 0.5% fee, and bridging to Pulsechain has no fee aside from the gas price.
Sorry, I'm talking about the ETH fee to bridge out when you're in the height of the bull run.
Yeah, could be, but like we have stable coins on Pulsechain, right? So let's say Ethereum was whatever, $300 a transaction. You could sell into stables on Pulsechain and then wait for a slow moment when gas on Ethereum was down to bridge out, right? You could even do the bridging and on the Pulse side, pay the fee in Pulse to bridge out. And then on the Ethereum side, you could leave it on the bridge until there was a low fee, and then you could collect. So, and I think also we'll see more people coming up with with bridges and other utilities to help people bridge out. We have Coast. We have other protocols that are working on additional bridging options. So stuff will happen.
Yeah, I just think we need more exchange listings. I mean, for us to really reach the masses and get that mainstream adoption, we need to get some major exchange, like a Kraken listing or something, that I know we have the latest one. Corey, what was the one that Crypto Coffee kind of spearheaded and got Pulse Chain on?
MXC, I think that wasn't that the one that
Oh,
he did.
MXC, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of users on there. I don't use it, but and also like a capability like cross chain swapping. So there's like dexes where you can swap from one chain to another. You can swap your ETH from, let's say, Solana chain over to base chain and it, or have it go into a different token when it arrives. So you don't have to pay that ETH gas fee. If you don't have to swap from Ethereum network, you can choose another lower fee network. If we can get some of those cross-chain swapping, like partnerships, I know that KG was building that into the Internet Money wallet, but I think you have to have the wallet to do that, and I think that's going through change now. I don't know, like liquidity-wise, how that's gonna go, but I mean, it's at least a good step in the right direction. That this more onboarding abilities that way.
Yeah, I think that's going to be key for sure.
But no, there were YouTubers that were getting tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of views in the bull run on these kind of videos, and it was getting a lot of people like into these projects just from their coverage on them. And that's exactly what Pulse Chain needs, is like coverage on all these different kind of protocols and these yield opportunities, passive income, things that are going to draw people from other chains, from BSC and from Solana over to Pulse Chain to make money over here. So when I saw his video, I mentioned, let's try to get him to do a video on mining Pulse Bitcoin with ASIC, because that is where we were trying to get that word out of how people can make passive income and stick it in the 2FLUX vaults and just yield on top of yield. We need fresh faces like that. We need more people coming from other chains to create content. And we don't want the community to alienate anyone when they come and they start making content. We've seen recently, content creator and making videos on Pulse Chain and different projects, and then everybody starts like calling it a grift or calling it a scam, saying, oh, they're gonna launch a coin and scam everybody. Well, no, they're trying to make content for Pulse Chain and pump your bags. Let them make their content, and if you don't like it, don't watch. But don't go and just because there's been past people that have done things like that. You don't want to turn people away that come and try to make content for Pulse Chain or onboard, and
Awesome. So I hear you guys talk. We should do this. But it would be great to talk with older hexagons that have been around, since day one or even a little bit after, but that are still around, and get their feedback on what we have been through in the last 4 years, right? Like on content creators. There's somebody called Joker. I'm pretty sure if you guys YouTube him, you guys gonna see
Yeah.
he was
the Hex Joker. Right?
I think everyone remembers Joker.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
That used to wear
There
Joker
you go.
makeup. Yeah.
Awesome. So, maybe they don't have bad intentions, but at the end of the day, they're hurting, right? So maybe it's about quality over quantity, right? Maybe we should just have quality people versus quantity, right? Because quality people bring quantity money with them, right? So this is a side note. I'm not trying to say we should walk this way, you guys should walk that way, and we should do this or whatever. It's a community, we're growing, there is new additions every day coming. I'm just saying, if we keep a core security aspect of how we can protect the community against content creators, right, that then show other stuff to the community and then get them wrecked, that's definitely not the goal, right? So yeah, just as a side note.
Parkway, that's a really good point, and I understand what you're saying. I'm pretty new here. I just started making content a few months back and loving it. It's great. One thing I'll tell you for sure is they don't want to speak, man. I've reached out to countless. I've sent messages. I have a show called Conversations on Chain, and the people I've spoken to are the few people that have agreed to speak. I can tell you I've outreached a lot, and you're either ignored or well, mostly just ignored. And that's just the way it is, brother. I've messaged a lot of these OGs and it's just crickets. They don't want to talk. They only want to talk to, I guess, certain people. And that's okay. The people making new content,
Like, who do
we've
you
moved on. We
consider?
talked to,
Like, who are you, like, specifically? Like, give me a hint. Like, because again, the community is very
Yeah,
big.
are
So
you,
I can't do that.
without saying names, obviously, are you talking about people outside of Pulsechain or people like OG Hex fans?
Well, I'm going off what Parkway said about, OGs or people who've been in the community a long time, and that's what I'm saying. I've talked to more people outside. I have no problem getting people with massive channels in 100K to respond to me, even just to talk to me, to say like, "Hey, man, cool channel. Maybe not now, maybe later, et cetera, et cetera." What I'm saying is people in the community that I messaged, because before I was messaging outside the community, I messaged within, kind of exactly what Parkway was saying. I was like, "Oh, let me reach out to all these people in this new community that I'm really into," and they don't even respond actually. Whereas if I can respond to like someone with 100,000 subscribers in Bitcoin or Ethereum, and they'll still respond. So Parkway, I totally hear what you're saying, but it is a very closed system. You know what I
so
mean? It's not that people aren't trying. People are trying
no,
to.
for sure, same.
The stuff that's going on with the SEC. It's really crazy what's going on. It's a great time to be in crypto in general as well. Obviously, you guys already know, 2025 is going to be the year. But yeah, and of course now we have Trump, big win for crypto. You know what I mean? Now possibly using Bitcoin, buying even more Bitcoin, having Doge, the Department of Government Efficiency. It's super exciting, man. I'm trying to make the best out of it.
So I know, like, DJ Khaled saying, well, if you guys talk about how you've been on other chains, like, doing coverage over there, and like, do you see any other L1 or any other blockchain that has as much community engagement as Pulsechain has now, with its, I think over 150 content creators, all the YouTubers, live streams, all the Twitter spaces? I don't see anything like this really going on with, like, on Solana chain or BSC. And what do you guys think? Have you seen like similar, or is it like lesser engagement than Pulsechain has?
There's certainly nowhere like Pulsechain.
No,
It just doesn't exist.
no.
And a lot of the reason just people aren't here is just the green candles. It's really that simple. There's just green candles on Sui or Ethereum or Solana memes or whatever it is, and that's all it is. A lot of talented people or bigger people are where they are because they chase green candles, and that's what the audience is looking for too. They're coming and they're asking me, they're just even asking me, "Hey, what's next? Where should I put my money?" And that's why the big channels are just where they are right now. As soon as there's green candles, they're going to come over here too. I think a lot of people do recognize there's a huge, vibrant community over here, without a doubt. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen like BitBoy has done videos on Pulsechain. He was doing his Zone 5 podcast where he did, I think, 6 or 7 episodes, all Pulsechain related, with Liquid Loans sponsoring. He even launched his own meme coin, Bro Token, on 9inch. So he's probably the first big influencer YouTuber to adopt Pulsechain. I know we've seen some others like talk about it a little bit, with Ivan on Tech, kind of like back and forth with Sami, and then
that was great.
others.
Yeah. So Sony was on Ivan on Tech. There was B Roots was on
Crypto Banter. Yeah.
Crypto Banter. That was super cool, talking about memes. Yeah, these are all great. And once again, a lot of these guys are just waiting for, I talked to Paul at Crypto Factor, and he said the same thing. He said he thinks what's going on is really cool. He's just nervous things aren't going to run this cycle because of the SEC case and all this kind of drama. And I'm sure a lot of other people share that similar sentiment. They're
Well,
hoping.
I'll tell you one thing, right? Is do you remember when Richard Hart went on a stream? He's a very popular trader called Mitch Ray. I'm sure a lot of kind of swing traders will know about him. He's probably one of the most respected kind of TA guys that covers the crypto space and the stocks. And he'll get, he's shadow banned, but he'll get like say 700 live viewers on his YouTube, and God knows what else live on his Twitch and whatnot. But he's someone that had Richard Hart on, watched the interview. And Richard Hart was kind of taking the piss out of him. Why is your chart not switched to log? That sort of stuff. And I think they didn't get on too well. But he's one of those guys now. And there's another guy called Crown, who's a very renowned technical analysis trader who I kind of learned a lot of my stuff from over the years. And they're the sort of people, if you mention Hex on their stream, even now, they'll get angry. They'll say, "Why are you even mentioning that?" Blah 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 blah. But the funny thing is we have headspace there, you know. So I think what we got to learn is even if we kind of stream with people that hate us, and I think that's what Richard was good for, was going on those kind of debates.
Yeah, he
I
did
know
that.
it's kind of, it's like putting
He
on,
did that one with
but it
Meet
works.
Kevin, and it was basically him just getting interrogating about if Hex was a scam or not, and then he kind of had to school him. It was kind of funny, but that's like a mainstream. That's, you know, he does other finance stuff, not even just crypto. So I got a lot of other audience in watching, you know, Richard.
But what I'm saying is, one thing I'm not really noticing right now is now that Richard's kind of not going out there, because a lot of the time he was doing streams to his audience, to us. But then he would pepper in most streams, or every other stream was one going out there, putting his armor on and debating someone that was calling it a scam. So, yeah, I mean, maybe I'm talking to myself here, but I think it would be cool if we kind of maybe try and have talks with people that don't like us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good idea.
I think what
Yeah,
you
that'd be cool. But they probably don't want to talk to us.
I do think, Ben, what you guys have it going with Crypto Bello, that is something that I think could be a real hidden gem if there's a plan behind how she markets, because I think she could bring a lot of people in. I mean, think about it. There's guys, what is it, 85-20, 85-15. So her market's men, you know, and I don't know. I just think with a plan maybe drawn up through ChatGPT, she could execute that plan and start onboarding a lot of people into Pulsechain.
Yeah, she does. She
Yeah,
does great
Ben,
videos. I mean,
I think
great content.
we're doing an educational video with her, right, Ben? Kind of a get to know Pulsechain video soon.
Yeah, and I almost feel like she should take something to the street, or take it to do some interviews in a bar or something where she's attractive. You know, that is something that I think has, you know, I sell real estate in Chicago, and when there's there, she could be a high-end, create high-end people onboarding into Pulsechain. That's just my thought of it. I'm just like, I think she could fulfill that niche, and I think she just needs a little bit more practice on what she's doing. And I think because she's, you know, she's authentic, her voice sounds awesome, you know. I think there's a lot that could be done if there's a plan behind it, and she could be the front person. Clearly she likes to do it. That I'm just thinking out loud.
I think mainly the welcoming need from the community needs to be better, though. I mean, we were talking about this a little. I'm not sure if you were on when we were, but yeah, I mean, when someone puts out a newcomer comes, you know, on into the community, puts out content on Pulsechain and projects on it, and then they start getting kind of negative, you know, some of the toxicity from, oh, you're not talking about my coin, or you're talking about something that I don't like, or everybody gets like super opinionated and just puts, you know, stuff out. You know, it's just not very welcoming. So it's like we need the community to, you know, welcome new content creators, new, you know, YouTubers, new anybody that's doing videos on Pulsechain, projects on it that are actually like geared and focused towards onboarding from other chains. Because that last Pulsechain video she did was it was an introductory, like, on Pulse for the Ethereum users and for the Solana users and the other. It wasn't geared for Pulsechain users. Everybody on Pulsechain already knows how to buy Pulse and how to bridge over, but, you know, using Change Now and things like that. So then when the reception is not, it should have been like a super warm reception, and, like, you know, everyone like loving that there's new people coming and making videos, not like, oh, you're gonna launch a coin and do this or do that, run off, just because, like, there's been a few bad apples in the past that have done that, you know. So that's the only thing that I think that can really, like, you know, like get in the way of, like, new people again. And this kind of short form content, I mean, it's great on things besides Twitter, like, you know, for Instagram and for TikTok. You know, you go on TikTok and you see these like short 30-second videos on a coin or on a, you know.
From my experience, honestly, I've been trying to promote hard on Instagram, and I think Instagram works. To Frank's note earlier, a lot of the onboarding does come from real people. A lot of the big money is going to come from real people. You know, you knowing someone that used to work in banking, they're retired, they like investing, they respect you, and you kind of building that journey and bring them on yourself. And I think things like Facebook, things like Instagram, if you've got, you know, 500 friends or 1,000 friends on there that know you personally or met you once or twice, and you're just doing, what I like to do is just put a few stories up, you know, a few short format stuff up there. And it definitely does work, because I do get the odd message of someone saying, oh, so what, you know, it might be after 6 months of posting stuff about Hex or Pulsechain or Pulse Bitcoin, they will eventually get in touch with me. Then you have a coffee with them, and before you know it, you know, a few months later, they are active on the chain. So I don't think you're actually going to get any, growth. As I say, like on YouTube, what we're finding is it tends to be, unless you go and interview someone outside the space, you tend to get those recycled users, same as Instagram. But I do agree, TikTok seems to be another platform which we should be stronger on, 100%. I know a lot of us are kind of slightly older, but the younger people in Pulsechain who are a bit more kind of savvy with TikTok, we should support them in producing content over there.
I just kind of wanted to address what Kings was saying. Kings, like I have been a day one Hexcam way back in the day. I'm an OG. I've been here forever. And I'm gonna tell you, like the first crypto I ever got into was basically Hex. Okay. I only knew the just the Richer Heart ecosystem is all I knew. My husband got in, a while back doing other stuff, and little by little I just kind of got in. But I just wanted to say to you, I onboard the crap out of so many people in the beginning because all that excitement, like you're winning and you're in a good ecosystem, and you're going to these meetups and you're just literally just meeting all these people and you're excited because you're in a good community, right? I onboarded maybe one person in my whole time of being in crypto, and now they're all starting to text me here and there, or they're starting to come out of the woodworks going, hey, so Trump is talking about crypto. And I remember back in the day when you were talking about some weird hex pulse chain thing and it was crypto. Now they're open to listening because now there's a bigger person and that's, got a lot of freaking something to say about crypto. And now they're willing to listen. So what I was going to tell you is now that we got the opportunities for Trump being in office and pushing crypto, and we got, Elon, like, everybody's going to understand it. And whatever crypto you're in, they're coming for you. Like, they're going to want what you have. I don't care if it shows a penny. Okay. A penny to them is nothing, right? That's when they buy in. So that's what you explain to them, obviously, but they're going to come. Trust me. And hopefully they come before it really gets freaking crazy out of control in 2025, because that's my belief. Pulsechain is going to the moon. And I honestly believe that, guys. And I have told people over and over in a lot of my spaces that I've done, crypto and coffee spaces, that you have to be patient. Obviously, the bear market was different this time. This cycle is what I've been hearing, following a lot of the crypto bigwigs, because of the administration we had in office. And it was just very weird. The pumps were not really there. It was just like FOMO, people pumping their bags, yada, 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 but it wasn't really there, right? Now we're about to see a lot of it coming in December and going on forward. But so hang in there, be patient, talk about it. Don't get it. Let it, just let it happen organically. It's going to happen.
It works in cycles, right? So obviously it's your first bull run, and I remember being in crypto in my first bull run and not understanding the cycle system. So just to kind of short form it for you, Bitcoin pumps, it's the first mover. Then traditionally Ethereum will then take some of those profits and pump, and then people take profits from Ethereum and then distribute them elsewhere. So this is a good indicator for you. You can say to your friends, this is the second wave. This is the parabolic phase, the second wave of the bull market. So we've been in a bull market for ages, but this is the end. This is the start of the parabolic phase. So you've got 6 to 12 months to make some money. Bitcoin's always going to be the first mover. It takes the dominance away, takes all the money away, and then it's going to flow into ETH and Solana or these other coins. Then it's going to flow into the altcoins. So don't be disillusioned. The fact that Bitcoin's gone up and then Pulsechain hasn't pumped, that never happens. That's not out of the ordinary. So just rest assured with that one.
Also, because of the 180,000 ETH from the SAC funds that were converted, basically Pulsechain is now like massive leverage on Ethereum, like Corey always says on his show. He's actually believes, that's even more than that, possibly twice as much as that, because of, past whales like Godwell that have supported the ecosystem. So, once ETH starts to move, which usually happens after Bitcoin slows down, before the alt season really kicks in with all the other altcoins, you'll see Pulse moving alongside with it.
I had a thought. One thing though, when you guys were talking about or you were talking specifically about the flow of money from BTC to ETH to the alts and meme coins and all that, it's like a hierarchy. It'll rotate from Bitcoin typically to ETH, then from ETH to the smaller altcoins, and then from those altcoins to the micro caps. And in Pulsechain, how I see that ecosystem going on a micro scale is that the money comes in first and goes to Pulse because it needs the Pulse to buy, but then it's selling that Pulse for something else, and that typically it's going into Hex or the other RH tickers, PLSX or Inc. So then those tickers typically will rotate into the other bigger tokens that, the top meme tokens on the chain. I don't know, say PDI, people go into WBTC, people go into Fux token, they go into all kinds of different things. Those are like the bigger platforms. And then that money will rotate down into the meme tokens there. So likely whenever you'll see the money come into Pulse Chain, it's going to cross the bridge first. And when it bridges in, it's going to go for the Pulse first most of the time to get the money to then buy the other things. So Pulse will kind of move up, but then it's being sold to buy the other things. But because you're liquidity bonding the Pulse to the thing that it's buying, it's kind of dragging it up because you're buying it as well. So the whole ecosystem kind of flows into the money, but you get the biggest leverage by going down the chain, although that takes higher risk because you need the money to flow into the top tokens first to flow down. So that's kind of how I see the chain working on Pulse Chain side, is you need that money to bridge in to then see the big appreciation for the most part on that smaller side. So if you're looking for more leverage, you're going to want to go for those tokens that get bid up last. And then if you want to get, higher liquidity, be able to exit with bigger positions, you're going to want to stay in those first couple things and not venture too far down into the chain there, because you're going to have a lot of trouble as a big player getting in and out of positions on these micro cap, nano cap meme tokens. So that's just kind of how I see the ecosystem, the money coming into Pulse Chain as it compares to like Bitcoin and all that.
Yeah, it's almost like Pulse Chain is a mini version of the entire crypto market, with like Bitcoin moves first, kind of like how Hex just moved, and then Ethereum, which is PLS, and then going into altcoins. It's good because it's almost like an alternative crypto, like a whole like a ecosystem outside of crypto, but like its own thing.
Right. Like I'm seeing it like Hex is the Bitcoin, PLSX and Inc are the big cap altcoins. And then the smaller cap tokens are like all of the bigger projects like WBTC, Fux, and all that. And the meme tokens are the same meme tokens on Pulse Chain.
What a great group of people. I'm so glad I joined. I discovered Pulse Chain and Hex like 9 months ago. So I did some deep research, and then for me, it was just a no-brainer because it just clicks onto me. Cryptocurrency made sense to me 2 years ago. I got into the simple ISO tokens that everybody was just hyping about. And I just saw just a lot of FUD. There was just a lot of, pullback, just dump and pump. And then I realized there was just a lot of price manipulation. So I've just been there from that. It all started like during the pandemic for me. It's like I was just always awake and just self-aware, and it just seemed like everybody was just calling me a crazy person my whole life. And then I dabbled into cryptocurrency, and then all of a sudden it made sense to me. And then the list of friends just kind of just disappeared. And then the Telegram chat I was in cryptocurrency, every time I brought up Hex and Pulse Chain, they just thought it was just a scam. And I'm like, how is it a scam if they print money in the Federal Reserve? So I just deleted myself in that group, and I just kind of just, eased into the Pulse Chain and the Hex community. And every time I jump into these, these group chats, they're fantastic. I realize there's a lot like-minded people like me. And then I watched a lot of videos of Richard Hart, and man, the man is wild, and the man is extremely smart. I don't understand why he gets a lot of FUD, because he does the image on purpose, because it's just basically a mockumentary of rich people, and he can do that in front of them because he knows it's a brain game, and he's good at it. He's very, very good at it. So, but the technology he brings and the innovation, we've all been wanting that, a safe, secure, pure, decentralized finance, and everybody kept throwing airdrop finance in me. And I'm like, well, these are a lot of whales in here. And I'm like, I'm not a whale. It's like, I want to build up my bags, but I was like, I can't just provide liquidity with just, $600-$700. And then there's people in here dropping like 15, 16,000. I'm like, well, yeah, that's impressive. But it took me a while to get those kind of bags. And then I saw Pulse Chain and Hex, and then I saw all the many the DeFi protocols that Pulse Chain and Pulsex offer. I was like, oh my God, these passive income is wild. I was like, it's small percentages, but you're not chasing percentages. You're chasing, a stable ecosystem. When you provide liquidity, you become a much more stable environment when everybody's participating, and you get rewards for that. That's true decentralization right there for people.
Yeah, there's no
Yeah.
VCs in Pulsechain yet, and I mean, if they come late, like let's say towards the end of the cycle, I mean, they'll probably end up being a lot of our exit liquidity, just because you know, they didn't want to get in the ground floor with the sacrifices, and we had whales like Rackham and others, but that's basically our version of VCs, I guess.
Rough Patch, welcome to the community. And I think what you said was beautiful. It was really well said. I hope more people realize what you just explained and come over here for those exact reasons. This is the perfect place to learn and build yourself up. Anybody can play at this table. Any developer can build at this table. It's extremely inexpensive place to learn and grow. And I think one of the good things, and we forget, made me think just based off what Rough Patch has said, is it's kind of going all to plan. Because imagine if whales had come from the beginning, nobody would have been able to get in, you know. And the fact that people have now had a year to DCA in or longer is incredible. It lets everybody come and play, because not everyone's coming from last cycle with a bag of 10, 20, 30K or whatever people have to just deploy. So this system has actually been very open and very fair, that has allowed anybody to come learn and build and grow with whatever they have, and then if they want, accumulate over this last year and actually put a bag together. So it's a really great place to be. And on what you said about people not liking him, yeah, it's true. A lot of people don't. But I think when you have a personality that's big, people aren't going to like you. You know, that's part of the game. But I think when people understand what he's building on Pulsechain, and it's much bigger than just PLS being a new layer one, he's actually about to make a paradigm shift in crypto. And when people realize what the OA's purpose actually is, they're actually going to realize he's a genius.
Sometimes it's better to be 3 years early in a project slash, you know, ecosystem than being 3 months late. And just generally with Pulsechain, you know, the unique selling points, yes, it is a fork of Ethereum, but it's actually the first of its kind by being a full system state copy. We literally forked Ethereum, we forked Uniswap, we forked DAI. We have all these services native. Richard Hart, and Richard Hart, he studied, you know, with Luna, Terra Luna, how it's failure, because he talked about, okay, people don't know how to do a crypto-backed stablecoin, and he didn't want to give out obviously the tips and tricks. He wanted to make it himself. DAI was one of his favorite stablecoins that he liked from Ethereum because of its design, decentralized autonomous organization. He wanted to make one, take a step further with no admin keys. And someone mentioned the OA wallets. What are they going to do? You know what I mean? It's super exciting stuff, obviously very speculative, but these are the narratives that we don't have in any other blockchain. It's going to be a separate new category in the coin market cap categories, only available in Pulsechain. And of course, with the whole snapshot, it created the world's largest crypto airdrop. It's actually pretty interesting what's going on here. But yeah, that's it.
Yeah, so I coined a phrase. This comes out of from Kamala's campaign. She was calling it that she's going to create an opportunity economy, right? And I don't know if everybody knew what that meant, but so I put out some tweets. Pulsechain is an opportunity economy, which it is, because you look at all the DeFi innovations taking place, the lending, borrowing, all the things you can do. There's like derivative plays, bond plays. I mean, it is a true DeFi opportunity economy on the blockchain that like no other chain really even knows exists. There is some stuff like that on other BSC, AVAX, some of these other ones. Like Solana doesn't really have a lot. It's more just for the meme coins, but it's just about getting the awareness and the word out, because it's all built already. I mean, more buildings are always being done too, but the people will come. Like, it's like they say, build the city, and then the people will come. Like Vegas was built in the middle of the desert. Like, they just built all these casinos just knowing that if they build something cool, like people were going to come, and then it just like exploded. Like, it's the same thing with this chain. We just have to like get everybody over here, and it's happening.
So I'm just thinking out loud. Like, I found out about Richard Hart when I was on a stream with Ian Bellina with Token Metrics, and he took 20 grand to 5 million in 2017. And when I saw those two interact, I was like, wow, this guy's good. So it's like, how do you just double down on hitting the same things that Richard hit on the way up with Hex? How do you double down on getting on streams that, a debate or, confrontation? A lot of people, even though there's, look, a quick side note, even though there's, some infighting and what have you with Pulsechain, everybody's out for the same thing. They're out to bring people into Pulsechain. So I think that dynamic exists anywhere. And I think that if you can get, this is the thing that I don't even want to overlook, is we're into the highly intellectual crypto savant. And it's like those streams probably are at the tip of the pyramid. Like the base is like, and I'm kind of formulating this thought. It's like, I think that Pulsechain appeals to a highly intellectual crowd. So, maybe that might be some other, piece of the puzzle on how to attract more people into Pulsechain. It's like going after the heavy hitters in the intellect domain. You know who they are. Everybody knows who they are.
Oh yeah, because I agree with you. 'Cause if, let's say
By 100%.
let's say we go and have a chat with some people who are of high intellect. A lot of them are going to kind of be multimillionaires, and they're not going to need to have high risk assets. So we want to kind of get that niche where it's kind of the aspiring kind of wealthy because they have the money, but not super wealthy. And also we need people where when we go in and have a chat with them, they're not going to throw the same old arguments to us. That can actually listen and understand our points, because Pulsicans are more educated than the average crypto bro, and I think if we're given long format, we do win in the end. But it's getting those long format conversations with the right people.
So I went on a space to listen yesterday, and it was Mario Newfall. Do you guys know? He's one of the largest, like, probably Twitter accounts, kind of citizen journalism, but also does a lot of crypto stuff and with Crypto Ran, Crypto Banter, and Money Gang Crypto was actually a speaker, and the space was about meme coins, and there were a bunch of other big crypto accounts on there, and Money Gang got to kind of show Pulsechain a little bit. And Money Gang got just recently brought on the 9-inch team, the 9-inch DEX, which is the second largest DEX on Pulsechain. And I remember they did the same thing like earlier this year. I think it was Hexy Bastard went on one of Mario's shows, and it was Crypto Ran, Crypto Banter, the show. And he also showed, not just 9-inch. I think 9-inch sponsored the show. They paid maybe like 30 or 40 grand to like have 9-inch be the sponsor of the show on crypto and meme coins. And he got to show Pulsechain as well and Richard Hart. So like it's like I think founders and projects like that can kind of like integrate themselves into other, with other bigger influencers and YouTubers and these big Twitter accounts that can kind of show Pulsechain and get it out to when there's a lot of people. I mean, there's sometimes tens of thousands of people on those spaces, and so yeah, like if they just keep doing that kind of stuff as we get into the bull market, then I think it'll get a lot more eyes on the chain.
As an observation, I think that a lot of people in the Pulsechain community are gloating about Trump being elected, and I think that eliminates half the people who would want to get into Pulsechain and other chains. It eliminates people. It keeps them from getting in. So I would assert that if you can remain neutral on either part, regardless of who people voted for, I think that would increase the odds of more people getting into crypto, period. And then it's not just some, it's just not the Republican side that people want to join. It's like a all party situation.
No, Frank, I totally agree with that sentiment. And I think that obviously, we did go slightly political with some of the memes and whatnot, and even this topic tonight. But I think part of that reason was because people like myself did go out on record and say, look, I think we are going to have a pump if Trump gets in, just because that administration seemed more crypto friendly.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of momentum right now.
And with the SEC stuff too, I mean, Gensler putting his unofficial resignation in, that's really, really good for Richard Hart and for Pulsechain. And we're going to probably be seeing in the next few days or few weeks where that plays out with if he's officially stepping down. And then we should probably be hearing by the end of the year, I think by the end of December, beginning of January, on that on the SEC case for the jurisdiction part of it, at least, if it's going to go into the full trial or just be dropped. So yeah, there's a lot of really great things happening.
It's going to go much, much, much higher than anybody thinks. I really mean that, because there's just something brewing under the surface. I know some people don't believe it, but Richard Hart has built something much bigger than just a layer one. It's really mind-boggling what's been built, and he's going to be able to pump it into the hundreds, if not thousands of X's beyond what anybody thinks. It's going to be mind-blowing.